by Biden's own statements, he should call on himself to resign. He should call on himself to resign. He should call on himself to resign. I understand what he's trying to say, but I also understand that he can't fucking talk. I mean, it's not like he does it for a living, so I wouldn't feel too bad about that. But promises not kept, and this nod and nod and nod, and so to have this like stamp over that, and like they go around like finding all the. I think they send Steve Doocy to ask questions of Biden just so they can get him going, what the fuck? So that they can take a picture of him as Doocy's asking his douchey question. And then they take the picture of him looking at Steve Doocy and going, what? Fuck is the matter with you? And then they go, look how confused he is. Yes, because he's talking to someone from your network. Dumb.
Simply turn the page. We have not. Our count from Afghanistan, sadly, it continues.
Americans held
hostage behind enemy lines. Day 107, it's happening. Here's a painting of some people
behind enemy lines. Day 107.
Ever think this?
Dude, the guy who's doing the voiceover, did no one tell him this wasn't a contest? Day 107.
Happened, abandoning Americans behind enemy lines, 107 days. We abandon our fellow Americans. It's 120 days since Joe promised to leave no American behind. He clearly lied to the entire country. Sadly, dishonesty is the prevailing theme in this Biden administration. Joe promised you could trust his word as a Biden. In reality, nothing could be further from the truth. Now, just take a look at his handling of COVID-19. On the campaign trail, Joe
Insider. Biden said he would shut down the virus, not the country, during the final presidential debate.
To quote, shut down the virus, not the country. Really. But tonight, more Americans, we can report, sadly, have died from COVID-19 under Joe Biden's watch in 2021 than under Donald Trump in 2020. And by the way...
Hold on. COVID deaths, USA. Okay, we are currently at 777,000. And let's see. It is all time. Deaths already in the United States. Okay, that's their CDC COVID tracker. March, February, October. Let's see, all time. Okay, so this is March, February 28th. Here we go. Test taken. Oh, that's tests. Hold on. Hospitalizations, vaccinations. Let's see. Coronavirus. They're going to get case by. Let's see. I'll just look up more dead 2021. Whoops, continues good. Okay. 2021 death toll in U.S. eclipses that of 2020 with more than a month left to go. This is what they're talking about, by the way. Tuesday, there's more deaths related to COVID in 2021 than in 2020. At the end of 2020, 36,208 Americans lost. Pandemic. Let's see. Yesterday, the pandemic toll was 773. When was this date? This was November 24th. Okay, cool. This means so far in 2021, America has seen 411,571. By the way, in 2021, the first month, by the way, being till the 20th, of course, because they're still under Trump, for the record. And there's still 5+ weeks. The daily deaths, well, that 1,000, another 40,000 souls could be lost before January 1st. Let's see. Hold on. The timing of this and the shift of where they are too. Let's see. More deaths related to COVID than in 2021. Let's see. 2021 COVID death tolls eclipse, and this is the part of this. Hold on one second. Bring up that's the same article. Okay. At the end of 2020, meaning, and by the way, I'm assuming they mean December 31st, but we'll go with that one. 362,208. I'm guessing he doesn't want to. let's see. How do you put this? It probably doesn't want me to do this. Hold on. U.S. COVID death toll. Jan 31. Or sorry, let's just go to the 20th. Now, never mind that the president couldn't actually make Jan 21, 2021. Okay, day by day. Okay, here we go. See more data. 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 It's gonna be a long one. Show. Let's see. I've got to find one site that shows me the. There we go. In the United States. Okay, here we go. Continue to site. Okay. Coronavirus. There we go. 392,428 as of January 20th. That's the day that Biden was sworn in as president of the United States. And so 392,428, which was a huge ramp up from the date that they were talking about, 362,208. So this number will get eclipsed if we lose 40,000 more souls as they're planning, because they're expecting. We will, you'll just clear it. If you lose 40,000, then that will be true. So there's a reason why he's enjoying this part. We've eclipsed this date, even though he's acting as if Biden was president as of January 1st.
Another variant is on the way. Now, this despite Joe inheriting not one, not two, but 3 vaccines, therapeutics like monoclonal antibody treatments that he's only mentioned one time. He got that from the Trump administration, Operation Warp Speed. And now more.
God damn it. He's got it. Of course he has to do that. Hold on.
Captain's log.
Okay. And 350,000 Americans have died from the virus.
COVID deaths this year have now surpassed the toll in 2020, with 350,000 since Inauguration Day. Wall Street Journal. COVID deaths this year have now surpassed 300. Okay, so the total was 350. So this is why the number is exciting for Sean Hannity. The 350,000 of the 350,000. Now, going by the medical economics page, which is Money Digest, Physicians Financial News, Physicians Practice, and Chief Healthcare Executive magazine, read by hospital people, the number on January 20th was 392,428, by the way. Now, that's a revised number because they're using the number that we now know as opposed to the deflated numbers of the Trump administration. Let's see. Trump admin down. Let's see. Under counting COVID deaths. Undercounting of COVID-19 deaths is greatest in pro-Trump areas, analysis shows. Tens of thousands of COVID-19 deaths are going unreported in the U.S., with far more missed in counties that strongly supported former President Trump, according to new research. The figures suggest that political leanings have helped suppress the true scale of deaths. In cases where the deceased didn't have a COVID-19 test, a coroner or medical examiner has the freedom to interpret symptoms. There's potential latitude to make a judgment call on condition on a set of beliefs about COVID and whether it represents a serious problem or a hoax. More than 413,000 people have died in the U.S. with COVID-19, attributed somewhere on their death certificate. The real death toll is reflected in the number of excess deaths in 2020 compared to the annual deaths of 2013 to 2019 is even higher. A separate study led by Stokes of 787 counties with more than 20 COVID deaths from February 1st to October 17, 2020 found that while there were 199,124 official COVID deaths in the same period, an additional excess 88,142 deaths were not attributed to the virus. Some of these excess deaths are likely due to factors that were exacerbated by the pandemic, such as overdoses, suicide, and response to isolation. But researchers believe that many are COVID-19 deaths that go uncounted. Overall, the true COVID death toll is 44% higher than the official figures, according to the study, which was submitted to PLOS Medicine. Here you go. Most urban deaths assigned to COVID-19. Most excess death not assigned to COVID-19. 0.1%. Mixed. These are, suburbs. Look at that differentiation. It's starting to grow. Look at the rural areas. Nobody's fucking dying of COVID out here. He fell under a tractor while coughing. We see a lot of variation in excess deaths, and it's kind of hard to explain. Another researcher on the study and a senior policy advisor for the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, there seems to be correlation between areas that were less inclined to take COVID-19 seriously and adopt preventative measures such as mask wearing and social distancing, and those with higher levels of unrecognized COVID-19 deaths. All right. Not all of them can be related to the COVID. There we go. So not only is the number that Sean Hannity is floating bullshit at 392, this is the Wall Street Journal editorial board's number, by the way, on Inauguration Day, which is a full 42,000 lower than the official count. They just rounded it down to the nearest 350,000. All of its, all the excess deaths, of course. Let's see, the undercounting. Let's look at this. There you go. This is, here you go. USA Today from January 17th. Blood on his hands says U.S. surpasses 400,000 COVID-19 deaths. Experts blame Trump administration for a preventable loss of life. January 17th, 2021. See that? Updated the 19th. So this is the day before. 400,000. They're down counting by 50,000 people. I mean, it's just 50,000 Americans. Who gives a shit? They're just your fellow Americans. U.S. it crossed a somber threshold Tuesday. Yet another reminder of how poorly the world's largest economy has fared during the coronavirus pandemic. COVID-19 death toll was 400,022, according to the Johns Hopkins University Board. This is their coronavirus resource center. Total deaths worldwide, U.S. 28-day case rate, 48 million cases, 780,000. Let's see, that's Germany. This is their weekly case rate. Okay, so this is going to go through cases, deaths. Russia's 1 million. No, so this has got to be day 28. This cases. Yeah, deaths by. Let's go to deaths is down here now. Yeah. 780,041. There you go. Last I checked, 400,000 is more than half of 780. And they need this fake number by the end of the year. Like they give a shit about any of these people, by the way.
Joe's inauguration day. Now, according to Biden himself, circa 2020, he, based on his own definition, should now resign in a complete disgrace. This is what Joe said.
220,000 Americans dead. If you hear nothing else I say tonight, hear this. Anyone who's responsible for not taking control, in fact, not saying I take no responsibility initially, anyone who's responsible for that many deaths should not remain as President of the United States of America.
Well, based on Joe's statement, he should not remain the President of the United States. 350,000 dead Americans on his watch. And by the way, per usual, he was lying.
By the way, they are all primarily Trump voters. literally, the difference year to year is incredible as far as who's dying from this. And also, anybody notice that he left out? He didn't seem to bother the whole "I take no responsibility" or that factor that Biden put in there, that somebody would oversee those deaths and go, "I take no responsibility for that." Where Biden came in, "I take responsibility for this circumstance," and he's been doing everything he can since he got in to get people to take the vaccine and to take special care when they go out. And meanwhile, most of these deaths are Trump related.
Political gain. Of course, he spent most of the campaign hiding in his basement bunker in the candidate protection program. And just like his racially charged lies about President Trump's travel ban, oh, get this. He called Trump's initial travel ban 10 days after the first identified.
I'm sorry, did he call it that? Because your own website says he suggested it was xenophobic, when in fact he refers to Trump as a xenophobic person and says that it's probably not best if this is the kind of decisions we're making.
Case of coronavirus in America, it was hysteria, xenophobia, fear-mongering. He tweeted that banning travel from any other part of the world will not stop COVID-19. And in response to the former president's
it didn't.
Ban on certain African countries, Biden released this statement. He said Trump further diminished the U.S. in the eyes of the world by expanding his travel ban. This new African ban is designed to make it harder for black and brown people to immigrate to the United States. It's a disgrace. We cannot let him succeed. Well, guess who just implemented a brand new African ban? Joe Biden. That's right. Joe just banned travel from multiple African countries over fears surrounding what is the new.
Oh yeah? The South African variant. And by the way, is this the same? Hold on. We have to back up and check this out. Bum, 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 ha. All right. Back here. Give me 1 second. There you go. Back up. February 1st, 2020. Feb 1 African Feb 1 African ban and travel ban. Oops. Trump. Oh, I see. See, Sean, I know. This is let's see. When was this article? January 31st, 2020. So Biden's response would be this one. Now, was this about a variant of the COVID disease that was specific to a certain area? Or was this just him not wanting those people to come in? Does this have anything to do with a temporary ban of travel until we know more about a particular infectious disease? Or is it something else? Trump administration adds 6 countries to travel ban. Nigeria, as well as Myanmar, Eritrea, Kyrgyzstan, Sudan, and Tanzania to his restricted travel list. President Trump on Friday added 6 countries to his list of nations facing stringent travel restrictions, a move that will virtually block immigration from Africa's most populous nation, Nigeria, and from Myanmar, where a Muslim minority is fleeing genocide. Besides Nigeria, 3 other African countries, Eritrea, Sudan, and Tanzania, will face varying degrees of restrictions as will one former Soviet state, Kyrgyzstan. Myanmar's Rohingya Muslims could be caught in the crossfire. All 6 countries have substantial Muslim populations. The total number of countries now on the restricted travel list stands at 13. This was not related to COVID. This was not temporary. This was meant to keep people out of the country because of where they were coming from. Just fuck off. Has nothing to do with COVID. Nothing. And the issue, let's see, the Biden South Africa travel yeah, there you go. There you go. This is what they're talking about. And by the way, this is not a picture of Joe Biden, by the way. Biden restricts travel from South Africa and 7 other countries starting Monday. Announced Friday that restrict travel from South Africa and 7 other countries starting as Monday as a new coronavirus variant has emerged. Acting on advice from the nation's top infectious disease expert, Fauci, and the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the Biden administration will restrict travel from South Africa, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Namibia, Lesotho, Eswatini, Mozambique, and Malawi. Biden on Friday night signed the official proclamation restricting travel of those physically present in the countries during the 14-day period preceding their entry or attempted entry into the United States. So this is if you travel through there and you bounce through any of these countries. This isn't about the citizens of those countries. This is a travel about this directly about contagion. The proclamation includes a list of those exempted from the new restrictions, including U.S. citizens, lawful permanent residents, and non-citizens who are the spouses of citizens or permanent residents. Do you think any of those? That you think the non-citizens who are spouses or citizens with permanent residence? You think those were included in the Trump ban from February 1st, 2020 that had nothing to do with COVID? No? You don't think that? I wonder why. It says it will remain in effect until terminated by the president. Will not apply to any flight scheduled to arrive in the U.S. Established on Monday. So it will basically start on Monday night. The decision to restrict travel comes as the federal government is still attempting to learn more about the new variant named Omicron. They need to see more sequencing, but after discussing what they've seen so far, officials decided to halt the travel from these countries out of the concern about what they don't know. He told reporters later Friday of the decision, "I've decided we're going to be cautious. We don't know a lot about the variant, except that it is a big concern and seems to spread rapidly. And I spent about a half hour this morning with my COVID team led by Dr. Fauci. So that was the decision we made." Officials say the policy was implemented out of an abundance of caution, given the World Health Organization has now identified it as a variant of concern. Our scientists and public health officials are working quickly to learn more about this. They're in contact with this. Quick timeline has to be done, blah, blah, blah. We remain in communication with the U.S. government, buying time. And travel restrictions will buy the U.S. federal government more time to investigate the new variant, officials say, but not much. Inside the government, it is seen as inevitable that the new variant will appear in the U.S. at some point, but the new restrictions could give federal health agencies and their global counterparts time to look. Right. Officials, let's see. And Biden said, right now we're getting the material together for our South African colleagues to get the situation where you could actually directly test it. I want to find out if it evades the vaccines. And then Biden, and let's see if I can find this other thing right here. Biden will evaluate travel restrictions on Southern Africa week to week. So they're basically doing this for a week, and then they're going to look at it. Oh, quit it. Go away now. All right. So difference between the things that Sean Hannity does not want you to look at is that Trump's was just for the fuck of it, and Biden's is a temporary one week to week while we get a handle on whether or not Omicron is dangerous. Canada has one, Europe has one, everybody knows it. There's no way to compare these two quote unquote travel bans. Like any idiot can spot this, even Hannity.
Disgrace. We cannot let him succeed. Well, guess who just implemented a brand new African ban? Joe Biden. That's right, Joe.
For a week, because of a contagion, followed by another week. And by the way, it has nothing to do with Africa per se. You can't even fly through the fucking place. And nobody, I don't know. I was about to say, does anybody think Trump thought people would catch black while flying through Africa on a layover? But then that seems like a xenophobic fear that Trump might have.
Ban travel from multiple African countries over fears surrounding what is the new Omicron variant. So is Joe Biden lying and playing the race card for political gain? Or is he a hysterical, xenophobic, fear-mongering, racist disgrace of a human being? It's either one or the other, Joe. Now, tonight, Biden's dishonest.
Yeah, because it couldn't be actual concern over the variant that would spread faster than even the Delta, which is part of the concern, and kill more Trump supporters than Delta already has. This, honest to God, what does Hannity do at the end of his show? Does he just go dance on the graves of dead Trump supporters?
See his hypocrisy. It doesn't end there. Frankly, Joe, and Fauci's face mask charade is hard to track. First it was, well, masks don't work. Maybe it'll stop one little droplet. then it was 1 mask, then 2 masks, then it was mask.
Then it was a study in June that said actually masks do help. And even though the particulates of a particular disease, while they can pass through it if you just kind of breathe it in, the droplets that would carry more of it don't get into your system if you're wearing a mask. And the amount of virus you're exposed to directly impacts the expectation about hospitalization and death and whether your system is overwhelmed by it or not. But who gives a fuck? These are just more dead Trump supporters. Honestly, why do I care more about maggots than Sean Hannity does? Because I got news for you. Trolls, I know you're watching. I know you tune in every so often to hate watch me or something, and we appreciate it. We really do. You drive up our CPM. But I don't want you to die. I don't want you to get sick. I don't want you to have, long COVID and just fucking stay healthy. If you don't want to get vaccinated, I can't talk you into it, but stay the fuck away from people that might give it to you because it shrinks your gray matter. It might actually make you permanently ill. There's a lot to this that's very dangerous. So the idea that this asshole wants to just kind of shrug off. I mean, most of the deaths are all happening in red states and rural communities, but fuck them. You know what I mean? Like, do we need them?
Indoors, but not outdoors. Then it was vax or mask. Then it was vax and mask.
Yes, indoor and outdoor are two totally different fucking things. If you don't believe me, go to a hurricane and wear a hat. In which area is it easier to keep it on your fucking head, Sean?
Vax, mask, and booster, and probably booster after. First, we will never, ever mandate. No. Now the mandates. And breaking earlier, a federal judge blocked by...
Hey, fucko. It's a testing mandate.
Vaccine mandates in the first 10 states to sue his administration. That's another loss in the courts for Joe Biden. Today, more mixed messages from Biden.
I'm sure he's just grinding about it. Just a loss in the courts. Oh, dear God. Yeah, I would put that right up there with Trump's losses in the courts currently.
Implored all Americans to wear masks indoors, and then he sauntered right back into the West Wing, mask-free. You can't make this up. Take a look.
I encourage everyone to wear a mask when they're indoors in a crowded circumstance like we are right now, and unless you're eating or speaking at a microphone. Thanks.
Like, where's your mask? They're going to yell at him about it. His mask is inside. And everyone around him is, none of us live like the president lives, but never mind the fact that they don't really give a shit.
Then later in the day during...
Thanks, somebody handed him a mask when he was done speaking. And like, here's your mask, sir. He's got a body man. And...
a meeting with business leaders, Biden did have a mask on, but he wore it around his chin. That wouldn't be too helpful over the holiday.
Well, he was eating or speaking. Did you hear? Sean, have you been lobotomized recently? Eating or speaking? Did you hear that? He's speaking at a microphone. Do you see that thing? You're in the broadcasting profession, aren't you, Sean? See that thing right there? See that see that standard that he established in the other clip you chose to show? See that thing? All right.
Weekend, Biden was spotted inside a crowded store in the prestigious island of Nantucket, shopping mask-free, despite, you can see right there, there's Joe, and there's the sign on the front door reading, face covering required. So I wonder if Joe's going to be cited for breaking Nantucket's mask mandate, or, of course, he's a Democrat.
He was probably asked to leave the store. Now, when he comes into Fox News and you guys have a vaccine mandate, I'm sure he'll show his card and you guys will go, no, we don't need to see that. It's a violation of your HIPAA.
Rules shouldn't apply to him, right? Now, tonight, maybe we should cut Joe a break. After all, he's really struck.
Oh, by the way, this is the Sean Hannity moment where he wants to remind you that it is his belief that Biden is failing mentally and can't speak.
Free health care for illegal. Look, to me, Corona means Italy. action replays in magnified fashion.
But the struggle is real.
With his memory. By all accounts, Joe Biden is a complete cognitive mess. There's no more ambiguity. There's no more debate. The evidence.
Well, I mean, there would be some ambiguity in the fact that he gets through entire speeches and recalls situations with some of the people there that they used to do stuff back in the day when he was in the Senate and the House, and he tells side stories about stuff that would require recognition of faces and familiar people, the ability to tell related stories to those circumstances, and then, of course, memorize parts or all of a speech and then read it off a teleprompter at the same time. But, you know, granted.
Action replays in magnified fashion. They do action replays in magnified fashion. First new branch of the U.S. Armed Forces in 75 years, Space Force. Not since the Air Force. For Iowa values.
That's how you pronounce Iowa.
For
right?
Iowa values. So we're going to get it going to a level that nobody can ever turn course on us. Nobody can ever change. Winston Churchill stood on the rooftops in London, very calm, making speeches. Winston Churchill.
Yes. One thing you could say about Joe Biden is he's never confused Winston Churchill with Mary fucking Poppins.
And today his struggles continue. Take a look.
As we enter the month of December, this month, compared to where we were last September, last Christmas. Questions?
Hold. What the fuck's wrong with that? That is a man speaking. I mean, granted, he doesn't have the ability to speak, off the cuff.
Michigan gave us Motown. Gave us Motown. Gave us the Mustang.
You know what I mean? With that flourish or whatever. Or, when they're talking about serious issues, I'm sure he flails
We're
about...
going to be appointing very pro-crime judges.
Wait a minute. Sorry. I know I have a Biden thing in here somewhere.
Yosemite.
No, okay, maybe not. Perhaps, I don't know. I wonder how the Nicaraguans feel.
A lot of very bad things are happening in Nicaragua.
Nicaragua, yeah.
If you get it in order, you get extra points.
And then, of course, if you don't believe me, you can always ask Mike Pence's wife.
We're honored to have with us today our amazing Vice President, Mike Pence, and his wonderful wife, Karen.
Should Americans be worried, sir?
Let me call on Nancy Bloomberg. Let me call on Alexis.
Alex? We've got two Alex.
Alex of Reuters.
Yes.
And so the other Alex doesn't have a heart attack. I want to call on him. Is it
Mr. President, two female Alex.
No, I'm not an Alex, but I'd love to ask one question and then the other Alex.
Okay, let me ask the other Alex and then you.
This is beyond.
Yeah, what's honest to God? He has a list of reporters. They're all sitting in a wad. He doesn't know who they are personally. So he's like, there's two Alexes here. Which one? One's an Alexandra and one's an Alex guy. And which one am I asking first? Because it just said Alex on the page because the girl likes to be called Alex instead of Alexandra. Like, what the fuck?
Embarrassing. It is humiliating.
I do not have where's my African American card. I'm sorry, I can't draw that up. Or Tim Apple, I suppose. Did he call the people Alex Apple?
For the entire country. And frankly, it is also now extremely dangerous as every one of our enemies, every hostile regime on this.
Seriously, honest. Okay, fuck off. Let's both watch that again. Can we just eat a bag of frog assholes, Hannity? This is what he's come away with. There's a whole speech on the economy and all this other stuff. It's fucking Christmas. He's got two clips, and one of them is like a stutter in the teleprompter, and he fixes it and then just kind of solves it. But
Month of December.
By the way, at no point this December versus when we went to Christmas last year, which is what it says on the teleprompter more than likely from what he's saying. But let's be abundantly clear. At no point during this, as far as what I saw, does Biden say the wrong thing and then insist that the wrong thing is actually right? For example,
the Burmese executives. So this Burmese, they say, pronounce it Burmese.
yeah, nobody fucking says pronounce Burisma. Burmesia. Nobody does. He mispronounced it, and then he went ahead and 3 times insisted that somebody else had told him you pronounce it another way to cover his own ass. He threw in, and I guess if anybody followed up and went, who told you it was pronounced Burmesia? And then, oh, by the way, listen real quiet to the tail end of this when he says it's pronounced Burmisma.
The company that his son worked for, that's Burmese.
That's Burmisma. That's before this clip, by the way.
The
That's
Burmese
before.
executives. So this Burmese.
You get the point. And don't even get me started on him saying ass force
First
instead
new
of Air
branch
Force.
of the U.S. Armed Forces in 75 years, Space Force. Not since the Air Force.
Not since the ass force. Not since the ass force. Sean, did you do a fucking hour on how Trump called the Air Force the ass force?
Legal, yeah, look.
Right. So,
I don't read, obviously.
all right. So let's jump ahead. Let's watch what Biden does here. And you're reading something from a teleprompter, normal human, or something deranged that we all have to worry about.
We enter the month of December this month compared to where we were last September, last Christmas. Questions?
Should America?
Again, what the fuck? Like, he's like, where we enter this, the month of December, this December, as opposed to where we were last September or last Christmas. Like, that's anybody who speaks all the time and is giving speeches, like, that's well within, that's not anywhere near.
Free health care for illegal, yeah, look.
Yeah, nope.
When they gaze upon Yosemite.
Yeah, or immortal principles.
Immortal principles.
Or how you pronounce the word voila.
And then voila.
Voila. That's right. And then, of course, if you're arguing about whether or not Biden's going to allow natural gas.
They don't like the gas.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like a grown-up speaking in front of a bunch of other people. So, all right, let's go. So that was it. That was, by the way, that whole piece where they cut it off right at that moment. That was our cause for concern. He went December, as opposed right before Christmas, not September. That's I'm shaking in my shoes. And then I guess he's going to make the case that Putin and Xi are at the top of their game and they're laughing at this.
Sir?
Let me call on Nancy Bloomberg. Let me call on Alexis.
Alex?
By the way, I don't know what the fuck that edit was. Look at this real quick. Let me call on Nancy at Bloomberg.
Questions?
Should America be worried, sir?
Let me call on Nancy Bloomberg. Let me call on.
Oh, there we go. And then they cut to, let me call on somebody else, different camera angle, or like an edit in there to make it make you think, oh, he's just saying, let me call on blah, I don't even know who's who anymore. Right? So, whoops. My computer started all over again. Right? So.
Alexis.
Alex? We've got 2 Alex.
Alex of Reuters.
Yes.
And so the other Alex doesn't have a heart attack.
And again, this is just being nice to the other person who he thought was going to be called on. But hey, don't ever stop Sean Hannity from having a fucking panic attack about he was just being nice. That whole thing, like the Alexis thing, this whole thing. Look at this.
Alex of Reuters.
Yes.
And so let me call on Alexis. Alexis.
Alex? We've got 2 Alex.
Alex of Reuters.
Yes.
And so the other Alex doesn't have a heart attack. I want to call on him. Is it
Mr. President, Alex. 2 female Alex.
No, I'm not an Alex, but
Oh, it's 2 female Alexes. That's the problem. By the way, Do you think it was two females named Alex, and one goes by Alexis and the other one goes by Alex, but then somebody wrote them on the paper as Alex and Alex because they didn't know the difference, and so he called on Alex's, and one of them was he called on Alexis, and the Alexis likes to be called Alex, and the other Alexis or Alexandria or whatever likes to be called Alex as well. That's the entire exchange. That's what we're fucking watching here. That's the whole thing. And him trying to sort that out and make sure that he answers everyone's question is going to be Sean Hannity's case. Did you hear somebody in the background? They actually said, there's two girls named Alex here.
Two female Alex.
No, I'm not an Alex.
Yeah, there you go. He thought there was a guy named Alex there because Alex is a male name and there was an Alexis. So someone must have made the distinction on his list between Alexis and Alex, being that the Alexis is the female version and Alex is, and it's a normal kind of assumptive, whatever. And there's no reason why not. It doesn't say like she, her, or something in their pronouns in the side of it, nor would the reporters expect that. And he just went, okay, one's Alexis, the other is Alex, and the Alexis likes to be called Alex, and he just worked that out. And somebody just said, there's two female Alexes here. That's it. That's the whole that's this whole goddamn thing.
I'd love to ask one question and then the other Alex.
Okay, let me ask the other Alex and then you.
See? He's like, somebody said there's two female Alexes. Okay, let me ask the other Alex, and then I'll get to the other reporter. Like, honest to God, what the fuck do you have to, like, the strain you would have to go through to cut that shit out of a speech when, you know, most of the time when I'm throwing my stuff together, there's so much in here.
I have a mouth that wants to save our country. Corrupt political crass.
Mm-hmm. Or, let's see, what's in here?
You're going to frack.
Mm-hmm.
You know the expression? You know the expression? They come after at us from every angle. They're after us. And we're here, and they're not.
Yeah, that's you guys remember that old expression where they come after you from all every
Embarrassing.
place.
It is humiliating for the entire country, and frankly,
And by the way, it fucking well isn't. Why? And I don't know why the volume on this went down.
also now extremely dangerous, as every one of our enemies, every hostile regime on this planet Earth, they see that.
Yeah, you know what? Sean, I appreciate you bringing this up because Xi Jinping, like, once he gets a hold of this, you know, he's definitely going to be laughing because, let's see, oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe this might be more on Xi Jinping's mind. Leaked files expose how China organized mass detention of Muslims, also sterilization, and also the overbreeding them or outbreeding them with Han Chinese. The students booked their tickets home at the end of the semester, hoping for a relaxing break after exams and a summer of happy reunions with family in China's far west. Instead, they would soon be told that their parents were gone, relatives had vanished, and neighbors were missing. All of them locked up in an expanding network of detention camps built to hold Muslim ethnic minorities. The authorities in Xinjiang region worried the situation was a powder keg, and so they prepared. Leadership distributed a classified directive advising local officials to corner returning students as soon as they arrive and keep them quiet. It included a chilling bureaucratic guide on how to handle their anguished questions, beginning with the most obvious, "Where is my family?" They're in a training school set up by the government, the prescriber answer began. If pressed, officials were to tell students that their relatives were not criminals, yet they could not leave the schools. The question and answer script also included a barely concealed threat. Students were to be told that their behavior would either shorten or extend the detention of their relatives. I'm sure you will support them because this is for their own good, officials were advised to say, and also for your own good. Let's see. Full document, Chinese officials told you parents were put in camps. President Xi Jinping, the party chief, laid the groundwork for the crackdown in a series of speeches delivered in private to officials during and after a visit to Xinjiang in April 2014, just weeks after the Uyghur militants stabbed more than 150 people at a train station, killing 31. Mr. Xi called for an all-out struggle against terrorism, infiltration, and separatism, using the organs of dictatorship and showing absolutely no mercy. Terrorist attacks abroad and the drawdown of American troops in Afghanistan heightened the leadership's fears. By the way, yeah, you read that right. Drawdown of American troops in Afghanistan heightened the leadership's fear. You know how Fox loves to tell you how once we got out of Afghanistan, Russia and China are so excited and they're ready to move in? Remember, have you heard them say that a dozen fucking times in the last week alone? All right. Officials argued that attacks in Britain resulted from the policy to put human rights above security, the war on terror, internment camps in Xinjiang expanded rapidly after the appointment in 2016 of Chen Quanguo, a zealous new party boss for the region. He distributed Mr. Xi's speeches to justify the campaign and exhorted officials to round up everyone who should be rounded up. The crackdown encountered doubts and resistance from local officials who feared it would exacerbate ethnic tensions and stifle economic growth. Mr. Chen responded by purging officials who suspected of standing in his way, including one county leader who was jailed after quietly releasing thousands of inmates from the camps. The leaked papers consist of 24 documents, some of which contain duplicated material. They include nearly 200 pages of internal speeches by Mr. Xi and other leaders, and more than 150 pages of directives and reports on the surveillance and control of the Uyghur population in Xinjiang. This is the Xi Jinping is not worried about Biden's speech this afternoon or whether or not he would know the difference between Alexis and Alex in the United States of America. This is what Xi Jinping is upset about and worrying about right now. The documents warned that there was a serious possibility students might sink into turmoil after learning what had happened to their relatives. It recommended that police officers in plainclothes and experienced local officials meet them as soon as they returned to show humane concern and stress the rules. The directive, meaning threaten them. The directive's question and answer guide begins gently. They're told they have absolutely no need to worry about the relatives who have disappeared. Tuition for their period of study is free, and so are food and living costs, and the standards are quite high, officials were told to say, before adding that the authorities were spending more than $3 per day on meals for each detainee, even better than the living standards that some students have back home. If you want to see them, we can arrange for you to have a video meeting. The authorities anticipate, however, this was unlikely to mollify students and provide replies in certain serious questions. When will my relatives be released? If this is for training, why can't they come home? Can they request to leave? How will I afford school if my parents are studying and there is no one to work on the farm? Good stuff. Family members, including you, must abide by the state's law and rules and not believe or spread rumors. Only then can you add points to your family member, and after a period of assessment, they can leave the school if they meet course completion standards. What are those? None of your fucking business. The party and the government will do everything possible to ease your hardships. Let's see. The line that stands out most in the script, however, may be the model answer for how to respond to a student who asked of their detained relatives, did they commit a crime? The document instructed officials to acknowledge that they had not. It's just that their thinking has been infected by unhealthy thoughts. Freedom is only possible when the virus in their thinking is eradicated and they are in good health. Get fucked. But, you know, Xi Jinping's probably, I mean that's those speeches leaking and all that kind of stuff coming out.
As well. Now, following that disastrous presser, the administration abruptly canceled Biden's supply chain speech. That was scheduled for later in the day. Now, it was more than I guess Joe could handle. He obviously needed nappy time.
Hey, fuckhead. You have to incorporate the Omicron threat as it came up into whether or not that would affect the contents of the speech. See, Trump would have gone ahead and given the speech and gone, it's nothing, and allowed that lie to get more people killed, which is Sean's entire point. At a certain point, you have to just realize that the point of Sean Hannity's entire show at this point is to get more dead maggots, to just stack dead Trump voters eyeball to eyeball height.
Now, tonight, Americans are struggling with so many major crises, all preventable and all created by That guy, Joe Biden. Now we have a new.
Oh yeah, they were all preventable and all created by him. So the Omicron variant created by Biden in South Africa is part of a plan, of course, and preventable, and the obviously optional. Whether or not it's a problem. Is it really a problem? It's kind of, what's the optional part? I guess it's the fact that it's a witch hunt hoaxy thing.
COVID-19 variant is likely on the way, according to top health officials, though, in South Africa.
Which is, clearly Biden administration's fault. And taking care to make sure it doesn't kill a bunch of Americans is obviously a waste of time, according to Sean Hannity.
Those infected with the Omicron variant at this time, I hope it stays this way, they're reporting that they are experiencing mild symptoms, but we will see what happens. Remember, this is the latest of many variants thus far.
Hey, Dick Smear. Public health officials are encouraged, but cautious. Yeah, the government would want to be the cautious one because that lack of caution is what has gotten a shit ton of Trump voters murdered.
Lambda variant, the MU or MU variant, the R.1 variant. As always, I encourage all of you to take this virus seriously. Consult with your doctor. Do your own research. Some research you agree with?
Yeah. Do your own research. Go on BitChute and watch long-form videos about how George Soros is trying to wipe out everybody but 144,000 Jews. Research.
Disagree with. And while we don't know exactly how the Omicron variant will play out in the U.S., we
don't give a fuck either.
Know that Joe Biden is not fit to serve. He will only make things worse, not better. And the American people, they are speaking out loudly. They agree. According to a new Rasmussen poll, Donald Trump has a massive double-digit lead over Joe Biden.
In the Washington Examiner. Yeah. I'm sure he's shaking in his shoes.
In a 2024 head-to-head matchup. Thankfully, the 2022 midterm elections are just around the corner because the Democrats won.
Yeah, just around the corner in a marathon that is months long. But understand, these are the same assholes who in June thought that they would be running on lumber prices in 2022. Yeah. Pardon me if I'm not clutching my pearls.
The rule in D.C. is literally a wrecking ball to this country. No other way to describe it. Take a look.
One party rule. What has 1 year of Democrat control of Washington?
Sorry, we're the spiderweb part of it is fun. Or is that broken glass? I guess it's broken glass, more than likely broken glass. And so a political ad, this is news.
Given us
shortages using footage of shelves from when Trump was in office.
Inflation, crime, chaos, division, and failure. One party, 1 year.
One party, 1 year. Minority Leader McCarthy will join us with more on that ad in a moment. Joe Biden.
I'm sure. You mean the dude that MTG is trying to get kicked out of Congress? Fuck's sake.